Sure. I guess.
One person. Fine. All right, we got 2 questions sent in. Go ahead and go over these questions. They're both good test questions. So this one's first, I think. This is number 75. So I'll blow it up a little bit because I'm going to have somebody say, I can't tell you, I can't tell you, I can't tell you. Usually they're sitting on the back row or the furthest away from the board. So there you go. Write that one down. And we'll also talk a little bit about positives and negatives today. Make sure I am recording. I am recording. So, and I want to check, Miss Carolina, can you see my board? I want to make sure everybody can see the board.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, good. All right, so go ahead and do that problem. First thing you got to find out is the common denominator of 30, 40, and 50. I just multiply them all together. There's no sense in trying to find the smallest one. Just multiply them all together. I was being sarcastic. So, take our handy dandy least common multiple, 30, 40, 50, and 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. Well, I'm going to divide by 2. That'll give me a 15, a 20, and a 25. Divide by 5. That'll give me, no, I can't divide by, yeah, I can. That'll give me a 3, a 4, and a 5. A 3. That'll give me a 1, a 4, and a 5. A 5. That'll give me a 1, a 4, and a 1. 2. Give me a 1, a 2, and a 1, a 2, 1, 1, and 1. So there's a 10, and there's a 10. So I got a 10 times 10. That's 100. And then what is 3 times 2? 6. So 600 is my common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this as 1 over 30. Minus 3 over 40, minus 17 over 50. And like I said, the good thing about this is you don't have to depend on the calculator. Oh man, I can't write. This is going to be a long hour. 600. Now, how many times will 30 go into 60? Well, you go over here and you take off 30. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to take out 30. Well, 30 is 3 times 10. And that'll leave me with what? 10 times 2, which is what? 20. So 20 times 1 is what? 20. So how many times will 40 go into 600? So I'll go over here, and I'm going to change my highlighter color to green or blue. And I'm going to find 40. What is 40? 8 times 5? So 8 times 5. How many times? What's left? 15, Hubert. That's right, class. So 40 will go into 600 15 times. 15 times 3 is what?
45.
45. Now let's take a green marker and let's take out our 50. What is 50? 5 times what? 10. And what does that leave? 4 times 3, which is what? 12. So 50 will go into, hold on, 50 will go into 600 12 times, right? 12 times 17 is 170 plus 34 is 304. Somebody check me. I don't know if I've got that right or not. 204. Thank you. So that's 204. Somebody check, make sure. And now we can subtract. Now, if you're like me, you like to spend money, okay? Well, I'm always in debt. Why? Because my negatives are bigger than my what? My positives. My bills always are bigger than my income. So, here is a positive. Positive 20 minus 45 minus 204. So you've got $20 in the bank because positive means you have.
I
Negative.
don't know if it's just my screen, but it's froze.
Uh-oh.
Like I can see you moving and writing, but I don't see it on mine.
Okay, so that means probably something wrong with your internet. How about you, Pendleton and Easley and Oconee? Can y'all see me writing? I mean, on
Yes,
the
sir.
board?
We can see it.
Yep.
Okay, so it must be your, so I'm gonna send it to you again. And we might have to take you out and bring you back in, Miss Carolina.
Okay.
So let me try to send it to you again. If I can find a little button. Okay, I just sent it. See if that makes it better. Did anything change on the whiteboard as far as my writing, or did it stay frozen? I'm moving my cursor on the.
Yeah,
Huh?
No.
Okay, I'll take you out and bring you back in. Okay.
Okay.
That usually is what. Go ahead and X out. Usually when I bring them back in, of course, it just messes up everything on the board there because the TVs need to be side by side, which I told them that when we went to this room, but they didn't listen to me. So, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't know why. Damn Russians. What's her name? M-E-J, is that it? Yeah. And it should ask her to reconnect to the, it should ask you if you want to accept again.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay, good. We should have used that as an excuse not to have class, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Dadgummit, I suck.
I'm thinking about it out of curiosity. Are we recording still?
Yes, because I didn't change anything. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me. Always remind me. I'll make sure we record for the one person that's going to use it. All right. So we have $20. We owe $45. If you have $20 in your pocket and you owe somebody $45, what is the result of that transaction?
You owe them
You still
$25.
owe $25, right? So now we owe $25 and we owe $204. That sounds more like my bank account. Minus 25, minus 204. If you owe somebody $25 and you owe somebody else $204, what do you owe them both?
$250.
$229.
Yeah, $229.
Okay.
I think. Something like that. Make sure we don't have Miss Carlina taking care of our checkbook. Okay? So negative 2, well, I think you said 229, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
229 over 600, and that is your answer. So let's type it in to see if we know what we're doing. Always good, especially when you got people multiplying. Somebody take your handy dandy calculator and multiply 50 times 40 times 30. What do you get? 6,000?
60,000.
Okay. But that's what people do when they're trying to find a common denominator. They just take the denominators and multiply them all together. That's the difference between somebody that knows what they're doing and somebody that don't know what they're doing. So it's good to have the least common multiple, isn't it? Because then you would have 60,000 or 6,000 with 30 times 40 times 50. I guarantee you somebody tried to do it that way. And then what do they do in the middle of the problem? They quit. Why do they quit? Because of number. And you feel bad about yourself. You quit school and you end up living in a box in a ditch down by the river. So, 229, that's what I tell my kids. Over 600. And on live PD. We got it right, so we feel good about ourselves. So we don't have to wear sunglasses indoors. You ever seen one of those guys?
Mm-hmm.
Girls, first indicator, when to run. If a guy wears glasses inside, like in Walmart, run like hell. Okay? Don't get involved with a guy like that because that's future domestic violence. Get away from them, run. That's the number one indicator. Hubert's number one indicator. I got 25 of them. For guys, you really don't need but one. Stay away from the Oompa Loompas. If they have an orange face and a white neck, run like hell. Y'all know what I'm talking about, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You may think they're the most beautiful things in the world, but if they got an orange face and a white neck, run. Guys, girls, y'all got a whole lot. Y'all got 25 indicators because men are so stupid. There's a whole list. There's 25, okay? 25 top 10. I'll tell you the second one for free. The second one is they spend more money on a car than it'll sell for. Okay? You got $10,000 worth of stuff in a car that only sells for $1,000. That's an indicator. Run like hell. Get away from them as fast as possible. All right, so let's do a nerd. Okay, that's going to be the same one, so we'll just do this one. Oh, yeah, I'll put this one on test, and what will y'all do? Y'all will skip it. So let's go ahead and try this one. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make everything a fraction. Okay? So let's make everything a fraction. 5 over 1 minus 1 over 9 divided by 8 over 1 plus 1 over 3. Now this is a test question. I'll put these on a test all day long. So the first thing you need to do is do what's in the brackets first. I would go ahead and get a common denominator for all 4 denominators, which is 9. I would change everything to 9. Why? Because you're dividing, and there's no such thing as division. You multiply by the what?
Flip-flop.
Flip-flop or the reciprocal. So you're going to end up canceling those 9s out if you use 9 as the common denominator. You don't have to. You can use 9 on the first one and 3 on the second one, and then you can cancel them out. But it'd be easier if you make all of them the same denominator. Or your alternative is to quit. Now, in this case, you know that 9 is the denominator. Why? Because 3 is prime, and nothing will go into 3 except for 3. 9 is composite, and the only number that goes into 9 is 1 and 9, 3 and 3. Here is 3, so in that case, you don't need to do the least common multiple. We're going to do it anyway. 3, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1. And there is your common denominator. So I'm going to put a 9 here, 9 here, a 9 here, and a 9 here. 1 will go into 9 times. 9 times 5 is what?
25.
9 will go into 9 one time. 1 times 1 is 1.
9.
1 will go into 9. 9 times 8 is 72. 3 will go into 9 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. What is 45 minus 1? 44, Hubert. Thank you, class. Appreciate the interaction and the communication from one person. Divided by, what is 72 plus 3? 75. Thank you again, one person. Now I have two fractions, and I am dividing, so there's no such thing as division of fractions. So I'm going to impress y'all, because I've had no training on these boards. So I'm going to scoot that down. Ain't that neat? I'm impressing y'all, aren't I? Especially since I haven't had any training. Guess how long we've had these projectors?
8 years, 10 years.
4 years.
Wait,
Haven't
what?
had one single training. That's why you've got teachers that don't use them. How many of you have been in a room and they're not using, they use these markers on these boards? That's why we haven't had any training. Blows my mind. Anyway, shut up, Hubert. 44 over 9 multiplied by 9 over 75. And look there. You take your handy dandy red pen, and what cancels? The 9s, Hubert. That's right, class. And that's equal to 44 over 75. Does anybody notice anything about this problem that I just did? I did it step by what? Step by step. And I've got 3 3/4 degrees. If I've got 3 3/4 degrees, and I'm doing step by step, what should you be doing? What should you be doing with less than 3 3/4 degrees? You should be doing step by step. Oh no. We get some people to try to do it in one step. Try to do it all between the blue lines of their notebook paper. And they end up getting it wrong. And they wonder why. 44 over 75. Oh, that's real good, Hubert. 44 over 75. And you feel good about yourself.
So are we not going to be allowed to have a calculator at all?
No, you shouldn't on this test. There's no reason.
I mean, just like check that one.
Yeah, but some people don't check their work. Some people use it, and that's why they can't spell mom backwards or make change at a cash register. I shut down the McDonald's on Highway 81 one time. The manager had to go out to his car and get a calculator. I'm sorry, if you can't spell mom backwards or make change, you shouldn't be at a cash register. Here lately, did I tell you about going to Simpsonville? Not Simpsonville, Woodruff. I had to go to Woodruff. I was buying a car for my mother, and there was one in Woodruff that fit the bill. And I stopped by McDonald's right there in Woodruff. It's a dead end. You go into Woodruff, and there's a left or a right, and there's a McDonald's right there. And the bill, it was me and my daughter and son and my mother, and it was $25.86. No, it was $25.56. All right, everybody got that? $25.56. Might have been 55 cents. And I only had, because I was going to buy a car, I only had hundreds. I went to drop by the bank, and I got the money that I needed. So all I had was hundreds. Everybody with me?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave the girl 100, and I gave her 75 cents because I didn't want her to break that 100 up to any more, I tried to make it easy. She rolled her eyes at me. That was the wrong thing to do. So I pulled up and I went in and I said, I'd like to speak to the manager. Okay? She didn't just roll her eyes. She rolled her eyes when I gave her the 75 cent. And then, while she was she had to get her phone, and she looked at me like I'm having to get my phone. And she started doing the math, and then she gave me back the change and rolled her eyes again. So I went to the manager. I got out of my truck, went inside, got to the manager, and I said, you need to take that person off the cash register because she's too ignorant to do general math.
Yeah.
So I came back by after we bought the car. I came back by and she wasn't at the drive-in window anymore. I'm sorry if you can't make change. Okay, what is 75? What is $25 from 100?
75.
$75. And what's 75 cent minus 56 cent? 21 cent, right? What? I'm sorry, if you can't do that, you should not be working at a McDonald's and you should not be working at a cash register. And if that hurts your feelings, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, but it's true. Period. So don't raise your hand and say, he's talking about me. I'm not talking about you. I don't know if you can do math or not. The whole point is, if you can't do general math, that's sad. But to make a long story short, I don't mind people checking, but some people don't understand the concept between checking and doing the math. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm sorry. I'll shut up. Anyway, what section of math did that come from? Did that come from chapter 3 or 5.3? Probably came from 5.3. So I'm going to go into chapter contents, go into 5, go into 3, study plan. I'm going to see if I can find a nerd. So if you work somewhere and I come in, you better watch out. You better make sure you make change or I'm going to talk to your manager. Tell them that you're ignorant. No, she pissed me off when she did her little eye roll. I know, I'm a bastard. Oh yeah, there's a test question right there. Let's do that one. I guarantee you somebody's going, I ain't going to do that. I'm just going to sit here. Yeah, just sit there.
Yes. Okay.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take this thing, we're going to take the dang old handy dandy. I hate this word. Some people hate the word moist, but I hate the word, dang old snip. I hate that word. Dang old. Y'all hate moist. I don't understand why you hate moist. Why do you hate moist? Moist.
It's nasty.
Y'all weird. There we go. Dang old snippy tool. There we go. Now I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to hit save. And remember, I hadn't had training. So we take this and we dang old erase that. Dang old bring that picture in there. Remember, I had training.
You just taught yourself everything about this?
Everything you see me do, yes. Because when they put these things in here, we didn't know how to do any of this. Or I didn't. There you go.
Yeah.
We have teachers that say, this is what they say, I don't want to use the Epson because I don't want to run out of space. All you have to do is hit add and you don't have to erase anything. But you can't tell them that.
Most teachers just use it to like present a PowerPoint and then my other
they
won't.
They don't even know they can write on top of their PowerPoints. They don't know that. It blows my mind. And who condones it? Tri-County Tech. They won't have any training. They don't care. I'm sorry. I call it like it is.
You should host a training session.
Say again?
You should host a training session.
Yeah. Because I'd end up tasing somebody.
It would be kind of funny.
Especially when one would say, well, I don't understand why we need to do that. I just tase them. That's the kind of personality I have. That's why I can never be a cop. Never. People say, well, how can you be a teacher? Well, it's different when you're a teacher. Because you understand
can't face the students.
You understand that people have a hard time learning stuff. I understand that. But when you're just, I don't know. Maybe some of you psychoanalysis people can tell me why I'm weird.
Okay? You can't deal with just like general stupidity.
There you go. I don't have PTSD. I just don't like stupid people. You got it. There you go. So just watch Live PD, you know. I got a half a pound of drugs in my car. I'm riding around in a car that playing loud music when there's a sound ordinance with no tag on the back. I'm going 150 miles an hour down a 35 minute, and I get out and I say you're racist or you're stupid because you're pulling me over and you're profiling me. Yeah, I ain't got no use in stupidity. I don't. So, let's do that. I wish it would quit doing that. Let me pull it down a little bit so y'all can see it. Yeah, they had a guy on Live PD one time, and I don't know, that guy, his elevator didn't go all the way up. There was something wrong with him. He was going 105 on the interstate, had a gun sitting in the passenger seat, and he got pulled over, and he complained that the police were after him, and he didn't do anything wrong. Of course, he had a suspended license. The tag on the car was not even the tag that was supposed to be on the car, and he was riding with a .357 Magnum sitting in the car seat. And he was going 105, and he gets out and says, I ain't done anything. I would have tased him just right there when he got out. As soon as he said I didn't do anything wrong, he'd been slobbering on himself. So, what's a negative times a positive? Well, let's go over that right quick. When you're doing signs, it's real simple. When you multiply and divide signs, like jumper cables. If you put red on positive and black on negative, you won't have any problems. When you have like signs, everything's going to be positive. Kumbaya. Everybody's happy. When you take a red handle and put it on positive, and you put the red handle on negative, and you do the other jumper cable the same, you're going to melt both alternators, as well as the jumper cables. And that's bad. So if you mix the signs, what do you get? You get a negative reaction. So when you're multiplying and dividing fractions, you want to keep those variables, not the variable. If you have like signs, they're positive, unlike or negative. When you add and subtract signs, all you got to remember is three things. When you have a positive, that means you have money. When you have a negative, that means you owe money. And when you have two negatives together, they always make a what? A positive. So, let's see if that's true. What's a negative times a positive? Because there's nothing there, so it's a positive. That's going to be a negative. Can we cancel anything before we start? That's not rhetorical. I want y'all to interact with me.
No.
Are we going to talk mumble? Okay, I'll talk mumble.
No.
If y'all going to talk mumble to me, I'm going to talk mumble to y'all. I'm going to ask it one more time. Anything in these brackets, is there anything that can cancel?
No.
Did y'all understand that?
No.
Was that a yes or no? Okay. What about the 3 and the 6? Remember, we can cancel diagonally or we can cancel vertically. Can we cancel a 3 and a 6?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to cancel here. 3 will go in there 1 time. 3 will go in there 2 times. You don't have to do that. You could just do 3 times 5 is 15, and 4 times 6 is 24, and then reduce the fraction. But what's a negative times a positive?
Negative.
Thank you. And I'm going to do the rest in black because I want to make that negative stand out. And 1 times 5 is 5. And 4 times 2 is what? 8. I'm going to put that in brackets. And then divided by negative 11 over 12. Now, I'm going to multiply or divide a negative times a negative. Well, what's a negative times a negative?
Positive.
So I'm going to take my 2 negatives, and that's going to turn into a Verde positive. Now, I'm going to put brackets, and I'm going to do 5/8 multiplied by what? Again, I'm asking y'all to be communicative.
12 over 11.
12 over 11. Good.
Does it turn positive? Or no?
Yeah. There's a positive right there. Negative times a negative equals what? Positive.
Oh, I was asking about like when that turns.
I've already taken care of the signs. When I put that negative times that negative, that turned that to a positive. We're done with signs.
Okay.
Okay, I teach that way because I want to get the signs addressed first. So this negative, I'll take these 2 negatives, this negative and this negative. When I pull them out and say a negative times a negative is this green positive, I'm done with the signs. So all you have to do now is just write the numbers. A lot of people don't realize you can do that, but you can. Can anything cancel? The 8 and the 12, good. So 2 will go into 8 4 times. I just wrote 2 for no reason. I don't know why I wrote that. Okay, 4, that's what I was thinking. 4 will go into 8 2 times. And 4 will go into 12 how many times? What's 5 times 3? 15. And what's 2 times 11? And you're done. And that's a good test question. Feel good about yourselves?
Yes, sir.
Good, then you won't put smokestacks on your truck. Oh, it helps the engine. No, it don't. Shut up. Don't help the engine. You know the only reason we have smokestacks? You know the only reason there's smokestacks in the world? Somebody tell me why. Because in the 60s, late 50s and early 60s, the trucks, the transfer trucks that they were making, where did the exhaust come out? Behind the gas tank. And what would happen, we didn't have air conditioning back then, so what would happen if you drove up beside a transfer truck and you were sitting at a red light? What would happen?
Yeah.
The fumes from the exhaust behind the gas tank, y'all don't know where a gas tank is on a tractor, do you? It's right below the steps, right under the steps. Forget it. Anyway, The exhaust from the transfer truck at a red light or a stop sign would fumigate your car. The Department of Transportation started mandating that all highway tractors after 1950-ish had to have smokestacks up at the top of their cab. So smokestacks only have one purpose. What are they? To keep the smoke out of the cars on a red light. That's the only reason. So if you see somebody with them on a pickup truck, run. Girls, run as fast as you can. Next. Oh, it adds to the horsepower. Shut up. Don't add horsepower. Now, open pocket, but not much. Very, very menial, but that's an excuse. Next. About as useful as these cars that squat in the back of the, that's about the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen. Here you go, here's another one. We'll do this one, and then we'll finish up, because some of y'all are going to start going into convulsions. What? I couldn't hear you. Y'all need to speak up where I can hear you. Okay, nobody's going to speak up now. Okay.
I was just asking, how do you know when you need to have common denominators? Like,
when you add or subtract. So this one you don't have to do anything. You just have to multiply and divide. Common denominators are only used when you what? Add or subtract fractions. Now, you just asked, which one of y'all asked that? Oh, okay. She just asked a good question. When do you know when to do common denominators? When you add or subtract fractions. And the only way that you're going to learn that is to practice. And that's called extra work. Sorry, it's hard for me to get those words out because people get mad at me when I say it. Okay? So, with a little bit of extra practice and a little bit of extra work, you will be able to do fractions. Capiche?
Capiche.
Let me write that down for you. I'll put it right here. I'm trying to find my pictures. One day they're going to configure these computers to look for the inserts that you snip with the snipping tool down here. But they just put it on there and they don't configure it to, anyway, I'm sorry. We ain't had training yet. There we go. Now this is a test question, but is this an easier one? Yes. This is an easier question because it's all multiplication and division. So the first thing I'm going to do, what's the first thing you do? Parentheses or outside the parentheses? Parentheses. So do what's inside. Nothing cancels, so I'm just going to do it. What's 5 times 3?
15.
7 times 4?
28.
Divided by 1/5. Well, there is no such thing as division. So you got to multiply by the flip-flop. I'll do the bottom for y'all. 28 times 1 is 28. There. Now, what's 5 times 15? 75?
Mm-hmm.
And you're done. You got to turn it into a mixed number. No, you don't. Do you see a unit of measurement? Do you see directions that say put it in a mixed number? No.
Nope.
So you leave it just like that. Now, can you reduce it? I don't know. The only thing that goes into 28 is 4 and 8 and 2 and 14. So since 75 ends in a 5 and 28's even, it's going to be hard to reduce that down to an improper fraction. So I would say that's pretty much the answer. Okay? The only time that I will ask you to write something as a mixed number, and I'll write these 3 rules down. There's a rule in mathematics and science. And that rule in mathematics and science, if you start with it, what do?
End with it?
You end with it. What does that mean? That means if you start with decimals, you end with decimals. If you start with mixed numbers, you end with mixed numbers. That's one rule. Second rule is directions / teacher. If the teacher, or I'm sorry, I'm not a teacher, I'm a professor. Anyway, if a teacher tells you, or directions tell you to change it to a mixed number. And then the third, unit of what?
Measurement?
Unit of measurement, good. Unit of measurement. If the question says, how many cups? How many miles? Nobody walks into Walmart or Lowe's and asks for 15/3 feet of rope. If you use a unit of measurement, if you have a unit of measurement, you use a mixed number. Those are the three rules for mixed numbers. And if anybody's told you that you're reducing, they lied to you. Why? 7/3. The definition of simplistic math is how many times your pencil hits the paper. So how many times? 1, 2, 3. That's an improper fraction. 3 times my pencil hit the paper. Change that to an improper fraction. A mixed number. How many times will 3 go into 7? That's 1 time my pencil hit the paper. What's left over? 1. That's 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. So which one's the most simple? The improper fraction. So if anybody has told you that when you reduce a mixed number from an improper fraction, they either misspoke or they didn't know what they were talking about. Because the improper fraction is never in simplest form to a mixed number. Now, there is 4/2. That's my elevator music telling me to shut up. What is 4/2? 4/2 does not change into a mixed number. What does 4/2 change to?
2.
A whole number. That's not the same animal. This is not 4/2. This is 7/3. That's a good place to end, and you feel good about yourself. So I'm going to hit the record button so y'all can go in, not record, so y'all can go into convulsion.